Did something happen? Okay. Look, we're going live. I'm going to be talking with Jess. I'm going to have a great time. Um, we're going to start in 5 minutes. I hope you guys will join in. I think we might open it up at the end. We'll see how things are going. Okay. So yeah, I'll see you guys in 5 minutes, and you're going to enjoy this conversation. We're going to talk about chaos and tragedy and life as a comedy. Okay. Hello, Jess.
What's up, David?
Oh, nothing much. Nothing much.
Are you ready?
I am.
How do you like your new house?
I'm loving it. I'm liking it so much. I'm on my own for today, so when the cat's away, the mice will stream about
Yeah.
Leviathan for how many hours? Who knows? my
Yep.
my wife's on a little trip with her sisters and her mom, and so I'm doing this.
Nice.
Yeah. And I really am loving the new house. I just hung up something.
Oh, nice.
There's my giant circular thing that
Yep.
it's very impressive if you're in this room. Right now it's just like a little tiny circle over there.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's that big, right? It's 49 inches across. 7 times 7, my friend.
7 times 7.
7 times 7. That's why 50 is such an important number.
Yep.
With an inch of frame. Anyway, yeah, so 50. Yeah, how are you doing? You were supposed to do youth group. You have Thanksgiving tomorrow. Are you going to be doing that?
Yeah, youth group wasn't going to happen, and for some reason I thought it was, and then I just been working like a madman. So, and Thanksgiving's tomorrow. Yep.
Nice. Are you actually taking the day off, or what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Well, then we have all the time in the world, don't we? We can take our time to talk about this topic.
All right, what is the topic?
The topic is related to Leviathan, and you and me have talked about it. Sometimes there was an incident, I can't even remember who it was, and they were talking about tragedy. And you and me were talking on the side. They were just talking about like that nothing could possibly make these things worth it, right?
Yeah.
And what we got to was we said, I don't have the heart to tell this guy that I think life is a comedy, that it is a comedy, and that some parts are hilarious that we think of are tragedies. And it's like horrible to say. And we went through a series of metaphors related to it. And one of the things which changed after we talked about it, I changed my YouTube handle. It says that you created Leviathan for play. Or
that's
for
Psalm 104, right?
Yeah, or for sport. Like it gives an idea, and everyone in the space knows what Leviathan is now. That it's not like, oh, you created whales because they're fun, right? Though it's interesting because sea mammals do playful things, right? Like they jump out for no reason. They do seem to have a little bit of fun. Yeah, just jumping out of the water, breaching, and all that good fun. But if we know that Leviathan is actually referring to the 7-headed chaos dragon, which, we know each other well enough, we can just jump to that. Chaos dragons, right? The dragon of chaos, the thing that might be Satan itself, which creates all the issues in the world, God created as a joke. It's fun.
Yep.
It's a little joke. As a little joke. And I wanted to actually do a stream on it to actually talk about all these elements.
Grimm says Leviathan was his name in the vampire cult.
What vampire cult was he involved in?
I'm getting more and more familiar with all this Grim Grizz lore.
So Lotan, which is related to Leviathan, is 7-headed, and that, if you ask me, in the New Testament, so we get different references. One of which says you crushed. This is in the Psalms. You crushed the heads, plural, of Leviathan. So Leviathan apparently has more than one head. And in the New Testament, the beast and the dragon, if you ask me, the beast is Behemoth, and the dragon coming out of the water is Leviathan, and it has 7 heads.
But apparently in Job, Leviathan only has 1 head because they only because it talks about like, can you pull in Leviathan with a fish hook or tie down its tongue with a rope? It's not saying tongues or
right. There seems to be. It's like a dragon. It's like saying, could you tie down the dragon? There's different looks to the dragon, and sometimes within Judaism it becomes one thing instead of multiple things. And also because we had this conversation. I love that you weep, but I also make jokes about it.
Yeah.
Right. And there's this weird. I wanted to talk about just what that experience is. A lot of because of Nick, who is here. Where's Nick? Yeah. He oftentimes does a Chesterton quote that says that Jesus wasn't funny. And I just disagree so strongly. And there's a number of elements that people play as melodrama that I actually think are hilarious. I want to talk about all these things.
Oh, I think Nick is going live here in a bit. That's why That's why he said time slot choice.
Oh no, we were going to go in
head to head with Nick.
I'm sorry, man. What if you join us? What is he talking about?
No, combine the streams. Don't cross the streams.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I want a little bit of time where it's just you and me. Okay.
Yeah.
He canceled. Oh wow.
He canceled it? Not because of this.
I really hope that this was not a misspelling, but like an attack. I thought he called in suck. Like
Nick is sick. Oh, sorry, Nick. We'll pick up the slack for you.
This is what was supposed to happen. Okay. Now you talk for a second. I talked too much already. How do you feel about that introduction?
Oh, okay. I'm hiding the chat for a minute. All right. So, yeah, like the whole character of Leviathan has always intrigued me. It was what originally got me into the book of Job because I didn't understand why God spent a quarter of his largest speech talking about this Leviathan thing. And so I've gone through like several like different iterations of how that whole section makes sense to me. There, like when I first was understanding it, it was the chaos monster. And then in the ancient Mesopotamian or Babylonian myths, there's the chaos monster versus the storm god. And that's the event that creates the world. And you have in Job, you have God coming in a whirlwind. So he comes in a storm. And so it has this strange allusions to that myth, but he doesn't come to fight Leviathan. He's bragging about his creation, Leviathan. But it has all these, it hits on multiple levels of all these creation narratives. And so basically what you get is God kind of talking about the things involved in the creation of the world. And it, it's even there explicitly when he says to Job, where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Where, when I sunk the pillars down, and on what are the pillars sunk onto, or what are the bases sunk onto? And so that for me kind of, because a lot of like most of the commentaries say, okay, God talks about the foundations of the world at the beginning. Then he goes on, then he talks about animals, and then he ends with these two strange creatures that we think are like a crocodile and a hippo. And then the speech is over and nothing makes sense to anyone. But because Leviathan is like involved in the creation myths, then like it ties the whole speech together in an interesting way, and gives it makes it make more sense. So then there's this interesting illustration. I should probably pull it up. I wonder if I have it somewhere handy. Um, it it's in this. I used to have it on my desktop, but it's not there anymore. It's this illustration. I've shown it before, but up in the upper left corner, there's supposed to be God the Father, just a little figure, and he's holding a fishing rod. And then the fishing rod goes out, and then there's a line going down, and then there's Jesus on a cross. On the bottom of the fishing line, and it's got a hook on the bottom, and then there's Leviathan at the bottom.
Emily
with
Verduin is
through his jaw.
Yeah, Mud Hut, also known as Emily Verduin, is obsessed with that image. Loves that image.
Yeah, I've talked with her about that a little bit, like when she was on the Discord back in the day, and but on the fishing line is all these little portraits of these men, and it's the line of David. So God uses the line of David to lower Christ down, and Christ is bait to hook Leviathan. And so like
he is a worm and not a man.
Yeah. Then there's all because even in Job, like there's all this allusions to like man is a worm. I mean that's it's elsewhere also, but then you get like it's this joke. It's this joke about it, like Christ was bait for Leviathan becoming a worm, and hooking Leviathan. And the reason why God would want to hook Leviathan is to is for these purposes of creation. Right. He's going to create the world out of the chaos, and so and Leviathan is this personification of the chaos. Did you find it?
This is Emily Verduin's image, where she now has worked in, if you can see in the tongue of Leviathan, there is a fish hook that has a cross as part of it.
Oh, yeah.
That's now...
I've seen that illustration before, but I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that's part of it because of exactly what you're saying, where the patriarchs or sometimes the saints are fishing for Leviathan. Very cool.
So, but then, so that's going through my mind, and then I was looking at the other places where Leviathan's mentioned, and it's in Psalm 104, and Psalm 104 is like the creation psalm. There's other creation psalms too, but Psalm 104 is kind of like the main one, and basically it's sort of like everything is in shalom, like everything is in its proper place, the whole world, and what you have is just a recounting of sort of the God in the heavens and the clouds and the wind and the air, and then you have the oceans, and it's poetic, but you still have some of the same ordering of Genesis. Right. So it starts with the wind and the water, and then the waters are moved, and the land rises up out of it, and then it goes into the plants and the animals and all that, and there's these different progressions. It's a very beautiful psalm, but so the psalmist at one point starts down in the valley, and then like is telling about the animals, and eventually makes it up to the mountaintops. And then from there, it says, oh, and look, the sea is filled with his creatures. Like I made it from the valley to the mountaintop, and I look out, and the sea also is full of life. And there's Leviathan for him to play with, for God to play with. And it's this, for those of us who only hear the message about how God's going to crush Leviathan, like it says in Isaiah and in Psalm 74, then this is like shocking. Like, why all of a sudden there's this playful image, this picture of Shalom that still includes Leviathan. And it seems like Leviathan has a place. And Leviathan is like his God's pet. And you're muted.
That image of the most horrifying thing imaginable, the dragon of chaos, is like, here puppy, right? Like there's the absurdity. I do think the Bible is oftentimes funny, and it's oftentimes funny in absurd ways. And that's part of why I wanted Donnie to be here. Donnie was originally going to be here and had to rain check. So we're gonna have this conversation a second time with a more Donnie-centered conversation. And the Donnie-centered conversation is he thinks the Torah is a comedy. And I'm like, how's the Torah? Like the ending of the Torah is, and the man who spent all this time to get to the promised land now dies on the other side of it. You just go, what? How's this right? How's this your idea of a comedy, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I started thinking about this too, because I sent to you, I really love the movie A Serious Man. And A Serious Man is the book of Job, but it's like just happening to a guy that lives in the Midwest in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because it's Coen Brothers, it's also like a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently finished directing a show. It was Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. And it opens with one of the most famous monologues. It opens with the most famous monologue in the show, right? Where a character says, if music be the food of love, play on. Right? And it's this thing, and it's always done one particular way. And I had a completely different take. And there's two characters that are very sad at the beginning of that show, right? And they're like in perpetual mourning. And one of my ideas that I had to talk to someone, I couldn't find a production that did it the way I wanted to, is I said, what if we're actually laughing at them? What if we do this, like, do it as though it's sad, but turn it up until it's like ridiculous and we're laughing at them, not with them.
Yeah.
Right. And we're not waiting for them to be having a good time for us to have a good time.
Right.
So the beginning that I did was the show begins. The guy, there's a lot of music in the show. So the guy who's going to be crying and has this very intense monologue, he is playing a piano, right? Because there's music. So playing a piano, there's two other band members, they're playing. And the song that they're playing, it's the very beginning of the show, right? Audiences just come in. It's Shakespeare, so a bunch of them don't know what they're in for. Mm-hmm. Music starts playing, and the words of the song are, I don't know why you're not fair. I give you my love, but you don't care. What is wrong? What is right? Give me a sign. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Is the beginning of it, okay? It's like, that's the song that they're playing, but it's so dramatic that like people are, all of a sudden people are like, what? And then the one guy on guitar starts doing your whoa-whoas. And while that happens, the main guy on piano starts like ugly crying to what is love, baby, don't hurt me, right? Like, until everyone stops. And that's why he says, if music be the food of love, play on. Give me, right? And what he's actually saying is he wants enough music that this feeling of sadness, like, it will feed his heart. And so the appetite, this feeling will go away. That's what he's actually hoping for. And so we did this whole thing where it was like big and it was completely different. And it got a laugh every single night, where when he starts ugly crying, everyone starts laughing. And it was just so strange to me because I couldn't find a production that did that besides me. Where it's like, I wanted this moment, which is tragedy, and this guy's so sad, and he's mourning that this girl won't reciprocate her feelings for him. And instead of being on his side, I was like, what if he's actually like an emo kid? Right?
Yeah.
Like, while he's crying, you're just like, oh, buddy. Like this one time I'm at this place just outside of Windsor where they had a flat roller coaster. It's one of those things for kids where it's basically a train. It's not even a roller coaster, but they say that it's a roller coaster for kids, right? And I can only see half of it, okay? And it's whatever. It's like a dragon or a caterpillar or something.
Yeah.
I hear a child crying, and I look over, and I can't see anything. I can hear that the train's going, and I can hear, and then the train comes into focus, and I can see there's a child just not having a good time, but it's not scary, right? And they're just crying, having a terrible time. And I start dying laughing so hard, but it's like an evil laugh, right? It's like and I'm there as a camp counselor with a group of kids. It was like a camp that I was in charge of, and we were having lunch, and I could just hear, and then the kid's gone, and you could just hear in the background. And I am just loving it.
Dumb baby.
Just having a great time. But it's like, is it possible that certain moments in the Bible and in the text, and part of it is that people picture the Bible almost entirely as melodrama. And for me, it's like, what if it's satire? And that thing, you turn up the volume a little too high on those emotions, and all of a sudden it becomes silly and ridiculous. Right? Because you said this to me, that there's chapters of Job that you think are funny.
Well, I think you could read it as like, I think you could read the whole thing as just being so over the top, because it's like reaching this limit. Like
right.
Like he loses, like he doesn't just lose something, or like he just loses everything, and he doesn't just lose one kid, but he loses 10 kids, and and then like if that's not enough, like God and Satan talk again. Like what do they have to talk about now? Like it gets ridiculous. Like it almost gets ridiculous. And so there's a way you can almost read, like you almost want to do like a stage direction of it as comedy, where it's just dialed up to that next point. But
well, everyone knows that in certain movies where something brutal happens, and the energy that you have is just like, oh, right? Like that is the reaction to someone's head blowing up out of nowhere in a movie. It will be brutal and disgusting, but your reaction is actually one of comedy. Like it was almost like a slapstick moment.
Right. And there's some comedies, I'm trying to remember one. I think The 12 Chairs has moments like this. It's a kind of obscure Mel Brooks film. But it's a comedy, but it starts getting so tragic that you're like, this isn't really funny anymore. Like this is actually this is heartbreaking, but it's also silly. And so it's always like just because I'll just describe it just a little bit, because in The 12 Chairs, it's like right after the Russian Revolution. And so there's a guy who was a wealthy heir of a whole family heir, that everything they got was destroyed by the Bolsheviks or whatever it was. And so he's destitute, but he's of this upper class. He's still just trying to retain his dignity. But he's struggling, and he's, and then he finds out that his grandma had sewn a bunch of jewelry into the bottom of one of the dining room chairs in their house. And so he goes to find it, and the chairs are all gone. There's 12 chairs with this dining room set. And so he asks where the chairs went. And then, so they're like, oh, there's some in the museum. So they go to the museum, and then it starts getting funny, because he's basically going to the museum to tear apart these chairs to try to find the jewelry, but he can't tell anyone he's doing it. So he's like, and then anyway, so like it, and then he goes and confess, or on on her deathbed, she confesses to the priest, who's played by Don DeLuise, that she hid these jewels, and now he's like manic and just he's like, I've got to get these jewels. And so they're like constantly like meeting up with each other and like racing each other to get to wherever the next chair is they have the next clue for. But there's moments in that whole thing like where it starts getting like really tragic, and you're just like, this is not funny anymore. Like, this is kind of sad that these guys are going to these lengths, and even at the end of the movie, it kind of ends just on a tragic note rather than a comedic note, and then you're kind of like, what kind of movie was this? Was this a comedy at all? Because of how it ended? But like you and I have talked, there's something about the Christian story that because of how good it ends, you're like, is this whole thing a comedy, like a serious comedy? But like, is it it's a comedy. It's a joke. And so it's funny to think about things like that, and sometimes like Jesus kind of knows what's going on. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go suffer, but I'm going to rise in 3 days, and no one believes him. And, and he's like, guys, I'm here. I'm the life. I'm the light of the world. And people are like, yeah, we know. And then they don't really get it. And then it comes all the way to like Lazarus dies, and he comes there and he says to Mary, and he's like, I am the resurrection. And she's like, yeah, I know one day he will be resurrected. And this is like, well, and like, this is where it passes from being funny to like, now it's tragic, where even Jesus is like weeping, because it's like, they don't get it. They don't understand. Like,
so many moments like that too. Because someone asked me once, when I was helping out with a youth group, what Jesus was writing in the sand, and I'm like, I think he's just being a dick, right? Like, and she had someone gave her this passage of scripture that spoke of like someone writing the sins in the sand and all this other stuff.
What do you think he was doing?
Well, so they think, oh, he's writing the sins in the sand because there's this one passage
their names or something,
in Jeremiah or something like that, or like that he's writing out the 10 Commandments, or like, or whatever.
15.
So good. No, it was that 8008. What is it?
Yeah, 5.
Anyway, boobless. Yeah, we did. Yeah. But I said, no, I think it's just funny. Right? I think it's really funny if these guys are talking to him very seriously and he isn't listening to them while they're talking. Instead, he's doodling. He just draws something, and then he looks up and just says, oh, he says, again, it's read as melodrama. Did no one stay to condemn you? Then neither do I. Right? Mm-hmm. Oh, right? Like this kind of thing. But to me, it's just this guy who's not even looking at them, just be like, oh, did
You're
none
still
of them
here?
Yeah. Right? Like, it's kind of silly. It's kind of funny, right? And then after that, I started seeing Jesus being sarcastic and funny, right? Where he would do things and I would be like, yeah, do you not understand the meaning of this parable? How then will you understand the meaning of any parable? Right? Like, how does that function in the text? Right?
Yeah.
Or like, I made you laugh just saying a Jesus line the other day, which was, we are Abraham's offspring. No, you're not. You're the son of your father, the devil. Right? It's just like, what? Like,
I know, right?
smacked, right? Just let it, yeah. You can see it. And one of these came forward too, where someone was reading a passage, and I had only heard the passage ever read very seriously. And this guy just was like, just this huge dude. He was in his 50s, but he was like in such good shape. And he read it sarcastically. And it was so funny. This is from Isaiah. Okay. To whom then will you liken God? Or what likeness compare with him? An idol? A craftsman casts it, and a goldsmith overlays it with golds, and he casts it with silver chains. He who is too impoverished for an offering chooses wood that will not rot. He seeks out a skillful craftsman to set up an idol that it will not move. Do you not know? Do you not hear? Has it not been told to you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like it's a curtain and spreads them like a tent to dwell in, who brings princes to nothing and makes the rulers of the earth as emptiness. And I was just like, this is the way it's supposed to. Like, he read another passage another time, because at church we would just have these periods where it would be open and people could just share scripture. And he read this, and I was like, this is and like a little bit intimidating too, because it was just this huge guy. He read the beginning of Isaiah as well, where he's like, come, let's reason together. And it's like, the way that he did it was like, okay, so this is what we'll do. You did what was wrong, and I will forgive you. How about that?
How about that?
Yeah. How about that, right? Okay, so this is what I offer. Your sin is red as crimson. I'll make it white as snow, right? So this let's reason together is like, you're an idiot, right? Like, that's the sense of the let's reason together. And I was like, same thing, Jesus coming down to the Mount of Transfiguration. We tried casting out this demon. We couldn't do it, right? We have been unable to cast out this demon. And Jesus says, how much longer do I have to put up with you people? Right? Yeah. He's either a dick or that's funny. And it's sarcastic. Right? What are the options?
Yeah. I don't know.
Right? Like, oh my God. How much longer?
But then I think people? The tragedy. Isn't the tragedy then when the people involved don't understand the what's the comedy of it? Isn't that a tragedy when the people don't realize they're in a comedy?
Well, so this is one of the things that was directly why we talked about it, and it was partially in response to something Nick said about Chesterton specifically says that he never showed us his mirth, that there's a side of Jesus that isn't shown his mirth. And I think that in a comedy, one of the very important things to have is the straight man. And the straight man will oftentimes have horrible things happen to them, but they play everything serious. And so the comedy is actually something they participate in by being above it, right? By being over it all, right? That he has, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross, right? Like, and so I even wondered about an image. I think it might be a bad idea, and I don't know if it's true, but do you know the icon of the bridegroom? Do you know that one? Where it's Jesus.
I mean, maybe.
You probably have seen it. It's a really famous one. It's here. I got it. Shit, this is dead. So it's
Yeah, he's
It's
like
Jesus in the robe and all this stuff. And I want one where he's smirking.
where he's smirking.
Where he's smirking.
Are there any
Like,
icons
yeah,
of Jesus smiling?
they try not. That's the thing about the
Yeah,
Orthodox icons is they try not to put any emotion on anyone's face. They don't even
yeah,
want him too sad while he's on the cross. This is as
right,
sad
right.
as he gets. Just right. Feels like he dropped his ice cream in this
His eyes are
picture.
a little bit downcast.
Yeah, but not too
Yeah,
bad.
but there's something about like like Buddy Jesus, and
Hmm.
like it's supposed to be silly, but that's like over the top. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
um it's it all of a sudden, like all of Jesus is just sort of gone. Like it's
Yeah,
goofy.
there's no
Like it's
element.
funny,
Yeah, there's no element of seriousness to this.
right?
And that's the thing is that I think you could do a version of this with his smirk that's like
It needs to be so subtle, and it needs like it's almost like he needs to be looking at you with like just a tiny little, the
yeah,
tiniest little smirk, like he
yes,
knows something, just like that he knows.
yes, yes.
Because there's like those, it's all Protestants that do it. Well, maybe Catholics are doing it too, but it's like the Jesus that's smiling and throwing the football with the boys, or the Jesus that's like helping. There's a guy like doing woodwork or whatever. Yeah, like this kind of stuff. Like just laughing Jesus. Like, is that too much? Look at that one that's down on the bottom. Like, go back.
Oh no, these guys. Which was at the
Yeah,
bottom.
that one like down like two from the left.
This guy. This is what you're
No,
talking
no,
about.
no. The one that's like he's got the little red sash on the white shirt. That one. Look at this, so creepy.
Hate it. Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah, that looks like AI. That looks crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of these are like it's too much. It's
Yeah.
not. It needs to be like a subtle knowing, not a
I
full.
wonder about even the way that Jesus tells the demons to not talk. Like, it would be really funny if he was just like, if it's not intense to him at all, if it's just like, shh, you're going to ruin it.
It's like, shut up. You
Yeah.
need to shut up.
Guys, seriously, you are ruining you. Spoilers.
It's like he's interacting with the stage hands, and they're not supposed to be talking to him.
Did I ever tell you the zoo story?
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's a really short story. It's one of the funniest stories I know. This really happened. I grew up in Windsor. Windsor's on the border with Detroit. Okay. Windsor does not have a good zoo. Detroit has a great zoo. I knew someone who worked with people with disabilities. Okay. So they take everyone over to the Detroit Zoo for a day. Okay. They're hanging out for the day. This one kid wanders off for a little bit. He comes back and he smells a little bit like poop. And they're like, "Did you have an accident?" And he's like, "No." And they're like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yes." And then they get on the bus. They drive back to Windsor. And when they're on the Windsor side, they look inside this kid's backpack. And there, in his backpack, is a baby penguin.
He stole a penguin.
Yes, it had this area where it was just like glass up to here and it was just open because the penguins can't get out.
Yeah,
And he just walked up and just scooped it
up
up
a penguin.
and put it in his backpack.
Oh no!
And they called the zoo, and the zoo is like, "Do not alert the media. We will send someone immediately."
Do not alert the.
Because first off, this is so illegal, right? You crossed a border with an exotic animal.
Right.
Right? And they don't want this on the news. They're going to have to close down. They blah, 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 like all of the problems that this is going to, I don't even think they reported it. I think the zoo showed up, grabbed this thing, came back, right? I also believe that if this guy was not developmentally delayed, he did not, like if he wasn't developmentally delayed, he wouldn't have been able to pull this off. I would have looked like I was stealing a baby penguin.
Yeah.
He did it with full conviction that if there was anyone around, they didn't even question what was happening.
Right. That's funny.
Anyway, I just felt that way when it's just like people ask me to tell that story. And they'll say, Dave, tell the penguin story. And I'll say, I can't. Because that's the best. That's the best punchline, is that you think there's going to be a dookie, that this kid that there's a poop in the bag, and that's not what's in it.
It's a penguin.
It's a penguin. You weren't going to guess that.
Yeah, that's funny. That's really funny.
Yeah. But there's like the twist in the story and everything else is you can't say, you're the son of God. It's just like, shut up. This is like spoilers. This is a big reveal.
Skankenstein says the punchline to the cosmic joke hasn't landed yet. The resurrection's the punchline. Right. It's like we're all afraid of death. We want God to help us and all this stuff. He's like, you don't die. Yeah. Oh, hey, Dad. Well, where's your sting, buddy? What do you got? What do you got left? But you have to tell the joke right. Like you can't spoil the punchline because so someone will be
and the martyrs, essentially that's what they're doing. They're in
on the joke.
They're in on the joke, and so it's like it's Obi-Wan Kenobi who just says, yeah, you're going to kill me in this sword fight. But like, what is that to me? Right. Like, I don't even care. Right. I'll come back more powerful than you could possibly understand. Right. Like this idea of being above it, but only through that do you get to do certain things.
Yeah. Well, and like, people will like, they'll say someone's at a funeral or whatever, and then you go up to them and you say, oh, don't worry, they're in heaven, or something like that. Like, why are you sad? They're in heaven. Like that's like spoiling the joke. Yeah. You're not that's saying that tell the penguin story, basically. Mm-hmm. Like you can't do that. Like you have to allow for mourning in order to get the punchline in the end. And that's I mean he's partly right. Like the punchline really doesn't land for us until we're resurrected, and then that will be hilarious. Right. But then the other part of it is we kind of already know what the punchline is, and so some of it's like a little bit spoiled. But then that allows you to like, you're in on the joke. Then I guess.
Can I tell you a joke right now? Can I tell you a joke that I really like? Okay, so this kid walks up to his grandpa and says, "Grandpa, tell me a story." Okay, back in 1933, I was on an African lion safari, right? But we didn't see no lions. Then at the end of the day, I get out of the car to take a piss, and this lion jumps out at me and goes, "Ah!" And I shit my pants. Wow, Grandpa, that's a great story. If a lion jumped out at me, I would have shit my pants too. No, not then, just now when I said, "Ah, I shit my pants." Okay. So, do you know what's really great about that joke? Is that you will find it funny the second time you hear it. If you heard me tell someone else that joke, you know that the first time I do it, the guy is just, right? Like, just right away. No break in between, right? Like, there's like a silly twist or whatever. It's one of my favorite jokes. But like, so if we see it all as this huge setup to this massive joke, this is a big thing, right? And then it all kind of, it's part of it is saying everything gets redeemed, right? And like, I see some of this as well in the book of Job, in the book of Jonah. If you're just reading it and then a giant fish swallows them at the end of a chapter, like my Bible study laughed. And then
after his beautiful prayer, the fish throws up,
vomited him out. My Bible study laughed a second time. And then Katie, my wife, knew how to read. I told her, like, you gotta read it like it's a joke. And everyone laughed at the end of the book of Jonah as well. Do you know what the last chapter of Jonah, how it ends?
But I'll let you read it. Because the whole of Jonah is a comedy. It's because everyone obeys God except for Jonah, the prophet.
Okay.
And everyone's happy about it except for Jonah, the prophet.
When the sun rose, God appointed a scorching east wind, and the sun beat down on the head of Jonah so that he was faint. And he asked that he might die. And he said, "It is better for me to die than to live." But God said to Jonah, "Do you well to be angry for the plant?" And he said, "Yes, I do well to be angry enough to die." And the Lord said, "You pity the plant for which you did not labor, nor did you make it grow, which came into being in a night and perished in a night. And should not I pity Nineveh, that great city in which there are more than 120,000 persons who do not know their right hand from their left, and also cows?"
I like how you stared off in the distance on cows. And also cows.
It's just like, what? And also much yeah. End of book. No response. Hard cut. Cut to black immediately. Right?
Yeah.
What is that ending? Yeah. That ending is hilarious. And that's read on Yom Kippur.
It is.
It's a comedy. It's a comedy that's read on Yom Kippur.
Yeah.
Even I told Jacob that I thought there was a joke in there because it says he makes a little booth. Well, following Yom Kippur is did I lose it? Following Yom Kippur is Sukkot, right? And it's the same word for booth. So he makes his little booth, and you're supposed to, when you make your booth, your tabernacle, you make the booth and then you put greenery over top of it. He makes a little booth, and the greenery grows on top of it. And so you're commanded to be happy during tabernacles.
Right. Because like if someone died, you're not allowed to mourn until after.
That's right. You have to. You got to stop your mourning, celebrate for the week, maybe a week plus a day, and then you can get back to your mourning. So this image of this guy sitting, it's like the kid in a happy birthday hat who's crying, or the image of this kid on the fun ride crying. I think it's like
he's in his booth, just waiting for the city to burn.
Yes.
He's like,
And then I just love, yes, I do well to be angry enough to die. Easy, buddy. Easy.
Yeah.
There's
this movie, I keep thinking about it whenever we have these conversations, called Pure Luck. It's with Martin Short and Donald Glover. It's like an 80s buddy film.
Is this the one where he's like incredibly bad luck? And
Yeah. So like the story is that there's this CEO and his daughter goes on an adventure to the Amazon or wherever, and she has terrible, terrible luck, and she gets lost, and no one knows where she is.
That's right.
And they don't know how to find her or whatever. And
so they use Martin Short, who has equally bad luck.
Yeah,
to
so
find her.
but Donald Glover is the straight man, and he goes with Martin Short, who has terrible luck, and they're like, maybe he will stumble onto like the string of bad luck that she had, and he'll be able to find her.
And it's a romantic comedy. Doesn't he fall in love with her?
Yeah. But Donald Glover just gets like beat up the whole film, and he's like just trying to like manage things, and Martin Short is also like, I forget, like he gets stung by a bunch of bees, and then he's like allergic, and he like swells up, and
it's when he gets into a car, he thinks it's a nail. It's one of the only moments of this movie I remember is he goes, oh, I think there might be like a loose nail or something, and then he just like they inflate him into it. Yeah.
But there's something like well, you have the straight guy, and then also like it just gets so ridiculous, but it ends so like kind of beautifully. They're like at this beautiful jungle hospital, like overlooking the forest, and like they're in their hospital gowns, and they like just like the Martin Short character, and then he meets the CEO's daughter there at the hospital because of her string of bad luck landed her there, and they just meet on this balcony, and they like just fall in love, and just like this is it all, you're sort of left with, is this bad luck even? Like it seems like this is all good luck, like so all these bad things that happen.
There's a scene in 12th Night in the same play that I was talking about before, where a character gets it's basically She's the Man. It is She's the Man. If you've seen that, that's what She's the Man's based on.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, so this girl goes undercover as a guy. Okay, and she ends up working for this Duke, and the Duke is in love with this girl that doesn't reciprocate his feelings. And he says, "Hey, you know what? This girl undercover as a guy, you have very soft, feminine features. I bet my love letters will come across like much nicer coming from you." So but she immediately falls in love with him, right? So now she has to deliver these.
And she's reading them or something.
Well, yeah. So So she has to go give these messages of love from the guy that she's in love with to the girl that and does not reciprocate. Goes, and immediately when Viola, the person dressed as a dude, when Viola does the big speech, immediately the girl falls in love with him.
Yeah.
Thinking it's a him, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and then a monologue occurs where it dawns on her what's happening. And at the end of the monologue, she asks, like I think Shakespearean monologues, you're actually asking the audience directly. She asks the audience, how will this fadge? And like other lines are, what will become of this? Spells out all of the issues of the play. And the very end of the monologue is, she looks up and she says, "Time, thou must untangle this, not I. It is too hard a knot for me to untie." So she actually just stands up and says, this is only going to resolve by a deus ex machina.
Right. This is too complicated.
This is too complicated. It can't be solved. It has to be divine intervention. And that's what happens. Is like, it turns out, she has a twin brother, shows up, and anyway, it's all this other stuff happens. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the point is that the character actually says, this could only resolve by divine intervention. And then at the end, when the characters reunite, it's laughing a bunch, but then they have this serious moment of these twins meeting each other again. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, like we're laughing about all this ridiculous stuff, but we then have a legitimate moment between siblings where I can make you cry 30 seconds after I just made you laugh out loud. Right? Yeah. And even getting into it, I said, do it as a joke at first and then break. Because the
And it worked?
It worked. It worked so good. So
Dang.
it's the two siblings back and forth, and the
Mhm.
brother notices, is the first one to speak. The sister doesn't say anything, and he says, "Do I stand there?" Right? It's his twin sister. She's
Oh
dressed all
yeah,
the
yeah.
exact same. Do I stand there? I never had a brother, nor is there that deity in my nature to be here and there and everywhere. Right? And I just had him say it as a joke. He just says, I do I stand there? I I never had a brother, nor is that
Right.
deity in my nature to be here and everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a sister, though. And then all of a sudden, just
The weight hits.
and he's like laughing and like, oh, this and this, like, this is weird. Why does that guy look like me? And then it dawns on him, and the
It's
audience is with that character, and then they're explaining it to each other, like to convince each other that it is the other one. And then they say, "I'm
wow.
Viola," and they embrace each other, and the audience is like laughing, crying, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, it just pulls, and the energy. It. If you tell a joke at a funeral, it kills.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
absolutely kills, because the energy, the tightness of everyone just is ready to like blow up. And that's
Yep.
what happens with, like, if you tell a joke at a funeral.
Yep.
Kills.
Yep.
Um, Someone mentioned the death of Stalin, and that is a perfect example. It's historically accurate, but that period is so ridiculous that by being ridiculous, it's just being accurate. It's like,
Right.
it's so preposterous. It's incredible. Sorry, can I get you to respond to what I went on for far too long, and I want.
No, no. Like I feel like I, we reached a good point. Um I was just like um kind of letting some thoughts settle. I um yeah, you know, I seem to like those things that sort of border on, the tragic and the comic both
Mhm.
together. And then I prefer the comedy rather than the tragedy. Um, like at the end of 12 Chairs, he like at the beginning of the movie, the note the what's the word for a wealthy upper class Russian?
Oh, like the bourgeoisie.
Yeah, the bourgeois or what, I forget. There's another term I'm trying to, anyway. The wealthy or the formerly wealthy guy, now destitute guy, meets uh, this guy who basically is a con man who lives on the streets, but he plays the part of like someone very um, well spoken, you know, whatever. But the kulaks, wasn't it? But
Anyway, okay, keep going.
anyway, they partner up. So this guy's always kind of doing shady stuff, and he's street smart. He kind of knows like I need. He knows when to beg. He's not above begging. He'll do it. He'll even like lie and cheat and steal. And this guy's like why would I do that? I will never do that. I'm no. And so at one point they need some money for, I forget what it was, a train ticket or something. And so the guy's like, you're going to pretend like you have epilepsy, and I'm going to get these people to throw money at us. Like this is like halfway through the movie, and he's like no, and the guy like literally like takes him and like throws him to the ground, and he's like laying there, and the guy calls out, he goes, epilepsy, epilepsy, this, and so he's like laying there on the ground, and he's already started yelling, and so he starts shaking on the ground like pretending like he has epilepsy.
Mhm.
And sure enough, everyone feels sorry for him, so they start throwing rubles at him, and they gather up the money and they get the money or whatever. So the movie ends with they go to find the last chair that has the jewels, and they're like, it's got to be here, and it's at this new union hall that was built for the railroad union employees, or what, union members. And so they go in there and they find the chair, and they've already torn apart all 11 chairs. So this is the last chair. So they go in there and they rip it up, and there's nothing. And then like one of the train guys comes in and was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Where were the jewels?" He's like, "Where were the jewels?" Like, he's like, "Well, there's nothing in the chair, but you won't believe it that we found like all this jewelry inside this chair, and that's what built this union hall. Like, we used the jewelry to build this hall." And so they're like all their hope is just gone. They don't have anything. And the movie ends with them walking away. They're both just completely hopeless. And the old man falls to the ground and pretends like he has epilepsy. And the young con artist is like just staring at him like, and then just starts calling out, "Epilepsy, epilepsy." And then people are throwing rubles at him, and that's how the movie ends. And you're just like, holy crap. This is like at the end, you almost like, you just want to cry, because you're just like, this is too sad.
Joseph commenting here, this combination of stuff, we were talking about it before as well, that the child of promise, Yitzhak, means laughter. It's like the rescue mission is itself a prank, right? I will make you a great nation, and then you don't even have one kid, and then you have one kid and you just name him Hilarious. You picked an old guy, and you just go, "Yes, I have picked these two elderly people to be the start of a new nation. And your first child shall be called Hilarious." What? What is happening?
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah. Like, it's so silly, right? The silliness, and like, just to be in on it. Our God, Jess, is a construction worker named Josh. That's part of what we're here by. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're on board for. There's a ridiculousness that we see, and I get this at the end of Genesis. Like, now Joseph's saying this too, right? Like, it's essentially Joseph is pranking his brothers. Like, it's a test, but you kind of get a little sense of...
Yeah, it borders on the tragic too, because he's pranking them, but then Judah actually does the selfless thing for his brother Benjamin.
Yeah.
And that breaks Joseph.
There's a part in it that gets me every single time, which is, did I know Reuben, in the middle of everything happening, turns to his brothers and say, "Did I not say..." What is it? I gotta pull it up.
Yeah, look it up.
It's one of my favorite passages. Sorry. At some point, I'm going to open this up if that's all right with you.
No, that's great. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Sherry, we were talking, or Donnie was supposed to join us tonight, but he wasn't able to. But we're going to try to talk again with him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the one who actually inspired me to talk about this. But then you and I were also talking about Leviathan. I'm having problems finding it. Yeah, it's a prank that goes too far. So
yeah, he's almost like getting a little bit cruel. And yes.
It's Reuben identifies it as divine justice.
And
Reuben
is this after they find the the cup and stuff in their bag.
Oh, no, I have to find it so bad. I have to find exactly this. It's in the middle of him pranking. And like he has to leave because he's gonna spoil it. He cries. Oh, come on. Okay. Okay, I think this is gonna help.
Is it 42? Genesis 42?
Yeah. This is the bit.
Yeah, it's the end of
I
42.
found it. Oh, I just had it. Okay. And Reuben answered them, "Did I not tell you not to sin against the boy? But you did not listen. So now there comes a reckoning for his blood." They did not know that Joseph understood them, for there was an interpreter between them. Then he turned away from them and wept. And he returned to them and spoke to them. And he took Simeon from them and bound him before their eyes. Okay. But it's when everything is happening that it just gets to me every time it's read, is Reuben just gets up and just points at his brothers and says, "Did I not tell you not to sin against the boy?"
Mm-hmm.
Just the boy. Not Joseph, the boy, right? Like to me, there's something extremely like emphasizing him as a child.
They still remember him as a boy.
As a boy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that we're bringing in all these different concepts, and that there's a funniness to this. And then it's like the joke becomes, and he's got to leave, otherwise it's going to come forward. And he just keeps on pranking until he figures it out. And then it's like this idea that this thing goes away and then it comes back. And like you and me were talking about it because everything is just going to seem so petty at the end of our lives. Right. And I said, if you're playing a game, pain will be represented. You know, you have the character when it's like third person and you're like behind him. And so there he is. And then above his head is 3 or sometimes 5 red triangles that are pulsing to indicate that the character is experiencing pain, right? Like, right? That's like your pain. Yeah. And that's how I kind of feel about it, is the problem of pain in the end, as horrible and as ridiculous as it all is we're going to stand before and we're going to be like, but why? Why the red triangles? That's like, that's as serious as it will be in the end compared to everything else. Yeah. And that's like horrifying to say. You know, you go through some really horrible, terrible things, but in the end, they amount to red triangles.
You know, I kind of think of when I think of when is it in Brothers Karamazov, where is it? I forget the name of the brothers, but the one tells the story of the girl who is thrown out into the cold and perishes, and he says all of creation isn't worth that suffering.
Yeah, that's Ivan.
Yeah, Ivan.
Ivan. Or,
and you know, like I was thinking about that, and I think the answer has to be something like God's going to personally like meet with everyone about whatever objections they have about existence. Like there's this scene in Narnia where after, I think it's Edmund or Aslan may have met, like there's some scene where one of the children, I think Aslan and Edmund go off, and Edmund had
They have to have their
lied
special talk.
and
Yeah.
caused all sorts of problems because he was meeting with the witch, and Aslan goes and they go and talk, and basically the other children just see them talking in the distance, and then they walk back, and I forget what Aslan says, but alludes to like everything's all right now, and they're like, what did you guys talk about? He's like, it's none of your business. Yeah, and I think, you know, when it comes down to it, I think we'll be able to go to anyone who has suffered anything in the end, and you know, ask them if God made everything all right, and they'll say yeah, everything. And so no one will have like you can't be angry at God for another, and so then you have to be angry at God for whatever you're angry at God about, and then He'll sort that out with you, and that's the I think God will make up everything to everyone, like everything, and so, you know, like, and that means horrible stuff, and I don't know how it gets sorted out, and I don't know what the thing is, but that I think in the end that's how it's got to be, and you won't be able to be angry for someone else. You'll just have to bring your own stuff, and something like that. I don't know.
I don't know if this is just my pastor brain connecting things that aren't supposed to be connected, or if this is just the perfect way to wrap things up before we open it up to everyone else, which is in Ontario, in the Greater Toronto area, which is where I live. When people think of Leviathan, what they think of when they think of Leviathan is it's the name of one of the I think it's one of the largest roller coasters in North America. And so thinking of it as one of the largest roller coasters in North America, and that it's fun for people, and connecting it with that little girl crying on the roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
What if partway through the roller coaster they start having a good time? Because it's horrifying. And what if you identified that as a traumatic, awful experience, and you said nothing could possibly justify how terrifying that is? It's like, well, what if it's also fun? But if in the end we actually say that it was a lot of fun?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's like nuts. But the nothing will make that.
But you can't say that to someone. Like, that's the most heartless thing to say.
Right. You can't say it while you're in the middle of it. You can't. Yeah. But it's the thing to know for yourself beyond something. And there was like a moment in my life one time. It's when I was going through like the worst breakup of my life, and God kind of gave me two options. And there were two options in front of me. Is that one was I continued pursuing this person that was not reciprocating until it was, because what I thought, and this is what I ended up doing. So one was I give up, I move on, I try to move on. Number two is I keep pursuing for like a couple more months. But in this one, it becomes very, very clear that I did everything that I could. Because I had no belief that it was going to work out. I'm going to do all these things, and then I'm going to walk away from this scenario knowing that I did everything right. It's not just going to be a hypothetical. It's going to be, you know, I didn't give up, and I'm going to teach myself endurance and all this other stuff. Right? Option two is I just accept it the way that it is and I move on and everything else, blah, blah, blah. And I picked the worst one. I picked the worst option, and I believed that it was right in the moment. And then in the middle of that, I had an image of God giving me a hug, but God was my father. And in the middle of this breakup, I didn't grow up fully knowing, like, where that knowledge connected with me, knowing that my father loved me. Like he did, but I just did not experience that love. And when I told my dad, because we were engaged, me and this girl, and everything went down. When I told my dad, he said, "Whatever you need, if you need to come home, you come home, and you will always have a place here. Like we love you. We're not upset about this. The only thing that we're worried about is you, not about anything else." And I felt in the middle of it, while I was going through the worst of the pain, it's like a question was asked, and to ask it was to answer it. It was, okay, would you go through all of this just to know that your father loved you? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I felt that question and answer immediately when it was the worst of the pain. Yes, I would. Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't well, later on I'll realize, right? Like that's the wisdom is actually to experience it in that moment. In the moment I knew that this was great. Right? And I'm going to open this up now.
Yeah,
I came up with the best response to a breakup. And the best response I ever came up with to a breakup is if someone breaks up with you, you respond to them with actually being surprised. This is what you do. Okay, so they break up with you and you do this. This is probably the best thing that could happen to me. Like it's like, so they broke up with you, but you still win the breakup.
Yeah.
That's
this is the best thing that could happen to me.
It's probably the best thing that could happen. And you can't be angry and you can't be too happy. It just has to be like, I didn't even think of this.
Yeah.
This is probably the best. Yeah. Right? And to me, that kind of is the expression of the saints as they're going off to be martyred while they're being burnt alive.
The best thing. Yeah, and then they get filleted and their skin torn off, and you're just like, oh my gosh.
This is probably the best thing that could happen to me.
Yeah. I always had this desire to like, well, I was doing missions work for a while, and I thought I was going to be a missionary, and so I had visions and desire to like even be martyred, and I even had people pray over me, telling me that I was going to be a martyr, which was crazy. But like I was like, yes, I would. And whenever I would try to do something, hey Matt,
hey guys,
whenever I would try to do something difficult missions wise, like it would
the
always
stars would just always align and it would go great.
Yeah, everything went great. Everything was always good, and like people would go somewhere and have a terrible time, and I could never go on those trips. It was always like, and I was spared like everything, and I was, and part of me was kind of like a little bit kind of mad at God about some of that. Like I was like, it's fine, God, do whatever you want.
We agreed this was going to be an epic tragedy. What the hell?
Don't you like want people to like, I'm like ready to go. I'm ready, and but part of me is like, I don't know if I could even handle it. Like if it came,
right?
Because I thought of this story one time when I was thinking about this. When I was probably in like third or fourth grade. I was at my friend's house for his birthday party, or a classmate for a birthday party. There was like 12 of us from third grade there, and we were playing in the hay barn on his farm. And so we're all like climbing over all the bales of hay, like it's stacked all the way to the roof or whatever. And one of my friends, he slips down between the stacks of hay bales, like quite a ways down, and he's like yelling. He's like, "Hey, help me out!" and like yelling. And then like he ends up climbing out, and kids are like reaching down to grab a hand or whatever. And he's like, "Oh man," he like comes up, he's like covered in hay or whatever. And I was like, "Oh man, that looks awesome." And he's like, no, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. I was like, yeah, I do. This. I'll go down there. I'll just climb back up. And so I put my feet down and I like started lowering myself down. And then I just totally slipped and just fell as far down as he did. But I freak out. I start screaming and crying. and so my classmate's dad like rushes up there and they're like throwing hay bales up to, and then they pull me out and I've got like tears and like hay all over me. And I was like, you know, I thought it was gonna be cool or
ever.
epic.
Just the worst martyr.
Yeah, like I was just like, I'm not ready for this. It was scary. I didn't slip down.
Guys, it was really difficult for me. Yeah. That's
What's
funny.
up, Matt?
Just chilling. My house emptied without me, so I don't know where anybody is. So I'm just hanging out.
Yeah,
Thoroughly enjoying your discussion.
Do you have any thoughts you want to throw in there about that?
I think the big thing that came to me is sort of like the question of like, are we in a joke or are we in a tragedy? I kind of feel like it's like part of that also boils down to the straight man versus the wild card kind of like duo, and how the two need each other. You know, like your every punchline needs a setup, and like with that in mind, that helps you kind of almost just make sense of every single interaction Jesus has with the Pharisees. They don't realize they're the straight man in a comedy routine constantly, but they also set the stage by which he can reveal the glory of God constantly.
Right.
It's always at their expense.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, some of these interpretations, it kind of gets like you were talking about Lazarus before, is he finds out that Lazarus is sick. And you need to see him now, otherwise he's going to be dead. And like you could almost see the wheels in Jesus's head being like, oh, this is going to be perfect. But in order for this to be the funniest, I have to let him die. Like it's like one of these things. It's just like I remember this one time.
Yeah, but that's that verse. Jesus wept. It happens during that, and so there's that the tragic and the comic kind of meeting.
Right at the same time.
He stinketh up to the cosmic joke.
My Lord, we cannot open it. He stinketh. He stinketh is in the King James.
King James.
I was in a car this one time, and I picked up an umbrella and I clicked it in someone's face so that it would go like right in their face, right? What I did not realize is that this was one of the ones that shot out.
Oh no!
Just like smokes this person in the face, and I said I would be more sorry if it was less funny. This is what I said to the person. And every now and then,
a lot.
something would happen, and I would like, you fall and you like, you face plant or whatever, and it's like terrible for you. But like in some of those situations, I would make it worse for myself because I knew that this was funny. I knew, and I would react as though it bothered me more than it did because I knew in that moment that I was the guy that it was like, this was such a bad moment for me, and that it was hilarious for everyone else.
That's funny. That kind of goes to like it wasn't in regard to this, but Peugeot talked about like exaggeration and the role that it plays in like us being aware of something, and then the exaggeration just makes sure that part of it is emphasized for like so just that you knew that it was going to be funny for other people if you took it more seriously than you probably should have, but you can't overplay it. Like it's
right. You got to find the line. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a friend, I would, he would say, hey Jess, we worked together for a while, and he would be like, hey Jess, I'm going to lunch. Do you want to come? And of course I want to come, but I'd just be like, no, like as a joke. And he as a joke would go, oh man, I thought you were wanting to come. And he would start to leave. And I would be like, no, I'm just joking. He's like, I know. And then like that would, and
Dueling straight men.
yeah, it was like this. It was, and then it eventually got to like, I would always cave, but it sometimes it felt like a high wire act, like how far could. But I felt like he would actually leave and go to lunch without me because that would be hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And he would even feel lonely about it, being there at lunch by himself, and that would be funny. And he would do it, and he wouldn't give me a pause to like unless I caved, like I had to cave. I was so mad about that. Why did I always have to cave? Why couldn't he cave sometimes?
And there's something so funny just hearing on the outside of both you guys having a terrible lonely lunch. For the sake of the bit.
Don't worry, this could be hilarious later to some third watcher, some objective observer. I'm sure God thinks this is funny.
It's interesting because humble and humiliate.
It's
right?
the same thing.
Right? It's but it's like one we identify as good. Like there's certain passages where we're trying to figure out what exactly happens because it's just like, oh, was this person embarrassed or did someone sexually assault them? It's unclear in the text because it just says that they were right. Like there's certain words that you just go, what does it mean by humiliate? Right? That he humiliated her. Right? Like there's a passage that I don't even want to get into it, but like I think it's a lot of people translate it as humiliated, and I'm like, no, I just think it was embarrassing for them.
I don't know, like especially like the Old Testament. I'm not sure about that a lot because then you have the relationship between shame and violence.
Right. Yeah,
but
the part of what I'm thinking though is this idea of we talked about Joseph as a comedic figure, Jesus as a comedic figure, and that ultimately, like one of the foundations for me in understanding the way that God creates the world is in a way that Joseph exists, which is that God has to lay down a bit of like God in his infinitude can't create the world. Right. So this is, I think I've talked to Jess, you a little bit about this, Matt. I don't know if we've talked about it directly, but one of the teachings is that this is in Judaism, that God can't create the world. And so he has to create a person within himself that is able to, that can exist within these confines. Right. And this is the bridge between the divine and the infinite and the finite, right? Yeah. And to me, I'm just like, that is the lamb that was sacrificed before the foundations of the world, right? And that's why Joseph is the hero of the entire book of Genesis, because Joseph is the way that the entire world is created and redeemed. Is God has to humble. He has to be the victim. He has to lay down. He has to give up in order. He has to be humiliated, right? He has to be lowered in order to create and rescue the world.
Yeah, I think Peter Rollin talks about like a good comedian. If you're like, especially if you're doing like crowd work or something. I don't think Rollins talks specifically about this, but it's somewhere. But anyway, like if you're doing crowd work and you're too cruel to people, like eventually it becomes too much. Like eventually the joke has to sort of land on you. Yeah. And then I think the best outcome is when you're the biggest fool in the end. But it's one of those things where you're like, you're playing the fool in order to you're exaggerating this in order for something to happen. And so like the joke has to land hardest on you. And like in all this, like if there is this cosmic joke, God is not only in on it, but he's like I'll take the dive in order to make the punchline work.
So there is a joke To me, what I thought was the funniest joke has become meta the funniest joke. It's become the funniest joke like a billion times over. And it's my favorite bit that Norm Macdonald ever did is about someone dying of bowel cancer. And now knowing that, and I sent this bit to someone. And I sent the bit to someone and they said, "Oh no." And they were like, "Oh, I was worried. I thought you were telling me that Norm Macdonald died." Because it just said Norm Macdonald death, right? And it was like they were worried that Norm Macdonald had died. And it's like, no. My favorite bit that he's ever done is on death.
Oh no.
But this is the thing, is that people have realized he knew he was dying of cancer for a very long time.
Yeah, he battled it for a long time.
And so what that means is...
But he didn't tell anyone.
He didn't tell anyone. So he does this joke about dying. It's the first joke of one of his specials. And it's like 15 minutes of him just talking about death. And most of it is just the way that he talks. There's no actual joke in it, right? So the very beginning, he's like, it's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. It's actually not very good to be alive. It's just so bad to be dead. is the first joke in it, right? And he's just like, I remember when my father died. You know, he how does he go into it? He goes, I remember when my father died. You know, he died of a heart attack, and everyone told me he's like, oh, that's good, Norm. He died in his sleep. Really? You don't think he woke up when his heart attacked and killed him? Because I wake up when like a cat walks over my belly.
When your heart attacks you?
Yeah, attacked and killed him. And he just does this whole bit, and it includes bowel cancer. And he's just like, they used to be that people could just die. Now they have to wage a battle, right? And so my uncle, he's got bowel cancer, and he's waging a battle, and I saw him doing it, and this is what it looks like, is that he watches Matlock with a little thing in his arm. It's him waging the battle. But I think this is bad, because then that means that at the end, you don't die. They say he lost his battle with cancer. What a loser that guy is. Last thing he did was
not only is he dead, he's a loser.
Now, I'm not a doctor, but if you die, the cancer also dies. That's the cancer doesn't just keep on going. I'm gonna marry his wife. No, like the cancer also dies. To me, that's not a loss. That's a draw. And so after Norm Macdonald died, there were memes that said, and he died of cancer, says he died after a draw with cancer.
Oh, nice.
People posted it, and that joke, which was already my favorite, it's like 12 minutes long. I'm not going to do all of it. But it was my favorite. And then I was like, this is like the wisest thing I've ever heard. Like it's so wise, it's so brilliant, and it's like guru level, and it's hilarious. But
and because he didn't tell anyone, he knew that after he died, people would connect the dots, and he found he had to have found that funny.
Yes, that people are going to hear this. And part of it's like about him being scared about dying too. It's just like, it's so sad all the way through, but it's also just so brilliant.
Yeah.
Where the joke becomes meta.
Ricky Gervais has this joke. It's he says it's his favorite joke, and he's atheist, and so he's like, this is my favorite joke, and he says there's a group of Jews that had died in the Holocaust and are in heaven, and they all like see each other and they're like meeting, and God's there too, and they're all chatting, and one of them tells a joke about the Holocaust, and like kind of dark or whatever, and everyone laughs. Everyone is laughing except for God, and he noticed that God wasn't laughing, and he says to God, he's like, "Oh, you had to be there."
Because he had to be there.
And that's like Ricky Gervais's favorite joke, because like the thing was like, where is God? You know, God wasn't there. That's how it all happened. But then, what a dark and tragic joke.
But does God laugh? Like, if we believe that he is there, is that the opposite?
Yeah, it I see Sherry's comment. It wasn't even Ricky's joke. It was someone else's joke that was like,
Well, see that question. This is something that's bothered me from like as a kid. It's just the idea
does
like
God laugh?
Really, really frustrated that I couldn't surprise God. And if you can't surprise God, does he laugh at any jokes? Like,
I know that he laughed at a joke I told him once. I told God a joke once.
I have since come around and realized, no, the really comforting thing is like he is the one who is there laughing at every ridiculous thing that I do that nobody else sees, and it's.
There's
I'm walking, I'm praying. This is the joke that I said. This is God loves this one. So if you're gonna tell him a joke, I recommend this one.
All right.
So I'm about to begin like a time of prayer meditation, and I say this before I tell him a joke. You got to say it before you tell him another joke. As you say to God, "Stop me if you know how this one goes." He loves that one. He loves it. Loves it.
Stop me if you know how this one goes.
Yeah, stop me if you know this one. Stop me if you know this one is one of God's favorite jokes. This has got to be, right? It has to be. That has to be what so many prayers are like. And he's just like, if I did, I'd have to stop everything. There's a special kind of humor, though, that is the payoff when you know that something has been set up. And it comes and you're waiting for that moment that you know has to be what happens.
Well, it's like the joy of providence is starting to recognize all of history as a series of setups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything is set up.
Have you seen? There's a Nicolas Cage movie. What is it? Knowing, where he sees a minute into the future. He sees a minute ahead in the future, and he goes to hit on this girl, played by Jessica Biel. I can't remember. Maybe, and in the middle of it, her ex shows up and starts bothering her. And it's like Groundhog's Day. He can replay that scene he knows if he makes any decision, what would happen. Okay. He can see into the future that much and whatever he decides how that will affect things. And he goes in and he does the Groundhog Day thing where like he knows exactly when to duck and he misses every single punch kind of a thing. Right. He says the guy, like he goes to talk to her. She brushes him off. And then the old boyfriend shows up, says, "Who are you?" And he says her future, and then throws the punches. He ducks under them. Right. And she's not interested. Right. He embarrasses the ex, throws him out, beats him because he can see everything coming. She's not interested. So what he does is the guy says, "Who are you?" And says her future, and just lets him punch him in the face. And the girl yells at the ex and then picks him up, and that's how they get together. Right? Is like you see all the possibilities, and the one where I face plant is actually the best option.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite scene from Knight's Tale, about when she's where he's like, "I'll win this tournament for you," and she's like, "Win? Like if you do love me, you'll lose."
Yeah, lose. And that part's so funny too, right?
it's hilarious. Well, because who was it, Chaucer, or is it Chaucer? Whoever that character is, he's like, he's like, why are you doing this? He's like, for love. He's like, you're an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah. This is no. Hey, curse God and die. Right? Like,
Right.
yeah. Just give up. Right? No, and that's what are we doing? We're laughing at his pain in that scene.
Yeah. Well, and then what's even worse is like then she sends her her maid down there, and she's like, you're my lady knows that you love her. Now win. And he's like already been hit with like multiple jousts.
Mm-hmm.
He's all hurt.
But that's like God uses all of these humiliating instances, like in Ezekiel 16, when like the worst things happen. God uses how shameful Israel has acted as a way of making it so that even Sodom and Gomorrah can be redeemed. Because your sister Sodom didn't do half of the things that you did. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you Sodom and Gomorrah as sisters. It's going to be like you have a family. Here's your family, and it's Sodom and Gomorrah. And God uses the exile to be the way that the message of Torah never spread through Israel's righteousness. They just failed so badly. But how does Nebuchadnezzar hear about Yahweh of the Israelites? It's because Babylon is there to punish them.
Right.
It's the humiliation.
What's more, like dramatically interesting, a success or a failure.
Right. An underdog story. Somehow the Christian God is an underdog story. Like,
that's funny.
That's pretty funny.
To see if he could pull it off. Like, no, seriously, omnipotent and all that stuff. But no, I can be the underdog. I can figure it out.
But it's again one of those things that without being the underdog, you can't make the world.
Well, even how God creates the world. Here he is, infinite, all powerful, all knowing, and then he makes creatures that he freely need to love him.
Yeah.
Like in order to win. Like, and so he can't force them to do anything.
Yeah.
And so like here's this situation, the infinite God can do anything except for force his creatures to love him. And that's and so he's got to do, everything is set up for all that. What's up, Neil?
He's in a different room.
I just wanted to sing Our God is an underdog, he reigns from heaven up.
That's good. That song slaps, man. It picks up. What was I going to say? Oh, man, that killed me. There was something.
One Canadian gentleman doing on this fine Thanksgiving Eve.
I'm doing great. I'm very thankful, but I have to work tomorrow. I shall eat no turkey.
When's Canadian Thanksgiving again?
It was like a month ago.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because you guys harvest early before the winter.
Early winter.
Which, if you're in the Midwest, it's winter for you too. It's much more Canada for Chad than it is for me. I'm south of Chad.
Well, Matt and I are both in Texas at the moment, at my ranch.
Not
Texas.
South of that. You're Texas too?
No, I'm visiting my parents' house.
Oh.
In Texas? Wait, where are you?
I'm in Houston area. I think Matt's in San Antonio.
Had coffee with Sartori this afternoon.
Dang. Sartori.
Jess
the
is
Martin
about 5
Luther
hours
of the
north.
corner. Yeah, I'm in Kansas City.
Okay, I'm sorry. I need to backtrack because there was something that was just happening and I feel like it was beautiful and incredible. A thought that came to my mind just while you were talking, and I can't remember what you were saying. It has been interrupted by Neil's joke, which is perfect for this moment. Ah,
Something in Ecclesiastes, maybe.
oh no! So it was something. It was something different. Have you guys ever seen Jodorowsky's Dune? A Dune. So there was a version of Dune that was almost made, and it was by this guy named Alejandro Jodorowsky. And so the movie does not get made, but everyone that he gathered to be his creative team did things afterwards. He got Geiger, who made the alien from Aliens, first designed his stuff, and a bunch of alien stuff was stolen from him. Bunch of Blade Runner was stolen from him. Star Trek was stolen. Like, so many of his images that he had, he created this incredible thing. But he has this whole bit. He's a very, like, exuberant Spanish guy. And he says, at one point, he just goes, because he completely changes the ending to Dune. And he says, if you are going to... if you treat the woman like the bride, always, always in white, looking nice, you cannot have the child. You have to. And he's describing this like process where it's like you have this perfect, unblemished, perfect thing, and it's just like you actually have to do this. You have to humiliate. You have to be humble in front of it, and you have to be embarrassed and embarrassing with this other person, right? Like that is actually part of intimacy, is this like great embarrassment. He goes further with it. I really do. If you are a creative person, I really recommend it. I find it surprisingly inspirational. This movie that did not happen called Jodorowsky's Dune.
Again, it's more interesting than successes.
Yes, starts with a J because Spanish. Jodorowsky with a J. It's fascinating, though, is that God has this option of this perfect world, and he's the only thing that exists in it, right? This humiliation that is the lamb that was sacrificed before the foundations of the world, right? And then creates a people where the child of promise is literally named ridiculous or hilarious, right? It's kind of almost like hinged on, I picked you because you were the worst option. That's why I picked, right? That's what he says. Says, I didn't pick you because you were the biggest. I picked you because you were the worst option. Okay? That's what I picked, right? How does Israel succeed in spreading the message? By failing, right? They fail upwards, right? And then in the culmination of this, he comes to earth, and his way of saving the world is through failure. That's how he remakes the world, is through death, right? It's all just a big joke.
It's cheating. You can't lose.
Yeah. Neil,
there's this short story that George MacDonald wrote called "The Cruel Painter."
Oh, you told me about this. Yeah.
It's such a weird story, and it's kind of structurally perfect because it starts out and it's sort of this like it's a little bit of a horror story. It's not really gruesome or anything, but this guy named Lockton falls in love with Lilith, and he sees her crying at her mother's grave in the graveyard, and she's so beautiful, like he can't stop thinking about her. But her father is this painter, and he's unbelievably like terrifying, and he does all these paintings of suffering. So like every painting, he's exploring human suffering to degrees that just get more and more refined, where he's imagining the faces of people and certain kinds of pain and like all this stuff. And and so this guy Lockton is like, I'm going to learn how to do that. so I could be close to, to be close to Lilith. I'm going to ask him to train me as an artist.
He'll mentor me. Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes and her dad takes him in, because he's got like nefarious schemes that he can use this guy for, and he starts training him how to paint or whatever. But in the meantime, he gets to be in the same room as Lilith, that she never talks to him, and she comes down and she does her painting and whatever. And so he's like trying to figure out what to do. Anyway, the story is like, the painter poisons him, or tries to poison him, and doesn't actually work. Like there was some sort of, I forget exactly what happens in the middle. And then he's going to like cover him in this plaster cast to hide the body and put him down in the basement. And the guy wakes up, breaks out of this plaster cast, and then fills it up so it's heavy again, reassembles it, and leaves it in the basement. He's alive, but everyone else thinks he's dead. So then he starts pretending like he's a ghost in order to terrify the father now. And so he's pulling all these pranks, basically. Like he's on the roof, like looking into the window, and the lightning flashes, and like the guy sees his face in the window, and he like freaks out. And then there's anyway, he ends up doing all this stuff, and he'll go down at night and he erases figures out of the paintings. And so the next morning the guy will come down, and there'll be figures that are missing from all the paintings, and like all this horrible stuff. And so the guy who was or the father is now, he like can't sleep, he's anxious all the time, he's terrified all the time, he's like having but in the middle of all these pranks, like Lilith sees him doing this and figures it out, and then they end up like actually like she's thankful he's not dead, and then they actually start forming a bond, and like he brings her in on the joke or whatever. And the whole story ends with the father playing with his grandchildren, laughing and rolling around on the floor with them, and they never, and he's like, maybe I should tell him what happened all those years ago when I was pretending to be the ghost and he thought he killed me and stuff. And he's like, I have something to tell you. And the grandfather's like, don't even worry about it. Like everything's great now. And like, and so it goes from like this horror story to this prank, like comedy, to all of a sudden it ends on this like glorious sort of family note of him in love. Him and Lilith get married and have grandchildren, and the grandfather is now playing with the grandchildren, and it takes so many like interesting turns. It's such a lovely little short story.
Well, and you were talking to me about like there's a tradition that the rabbis become like Leviathan as like the final stage, and that the description of Job at the end as his skin and the scarring and everything, it's like the plating on
His skin
Leviathan
disease, yeah,
that it seems like he himself is becoming like Leviathan.
He has scales.
Scales and all this other stuff. And we were talking about it is if we are identifying Leviathan for play, this idea of the chaos actually being this what is considered this death, this like horrible thing, is actually the facilitator of everything good. It's like the redemption comes not through exaltation, but through humiliation, right? Through becoming the worst thing, through becoming the criminal that's cursed, that people spit at, that everyone thinks that they're above, that goes to the bottom in order to redeem everything. And that God needed to do that even to create the world. And so when we act like God is when we are doing that part of the story, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's even how we become like God, or how God makes us like him. And then it's also like how we get to know him, because this is who he is and this is what he does. And I was watching some little short with a an Orthodox monk, and he was talking about theosis. He's like people get it kind of twisted, like what theosis is. He's like, it's when you feed the hungry. It's when you're washing people's feet. Like that's theosis. Like, because that's what God did, and that's what he did when he was Christ, and that's what he did to create the world.
It's a weird moment. Like Joseph is very against knowing that you're fulfilling when you're fulfilling it. But like this one time, my friend was I had like an infection in my foot, and my friend was cleaning it for me, and I was sitting as he did this thing, and I realized in that moment that he was Jesus to me.
Your feet.
But then I realized that on the day of judgment, this will be used as an example of when I was Jesus in the story. Me being the one, because whenever you did this for the least of these my brothers, then you did it to me. So for him, I'm actually Jesus in that moment.
Right.
You think he's Jesus because he's helping me.
Yeah.
No, I was Jesus because I was the least.
Yeah.
I was the one with the wound, right? And that's going to be counted to my friend as a time that he just was super nice to Jesus, right? Is like, because that counts as being acted towards the image of God, right? That's when he, like the image of God, that interaction. Yeah. So if you take all this stuff, you put it together, this weird combination of stuff, I think it's somehow related to the fact that Jesus becomes the snake on the pole, right? That the crucifixion that's when he becomes the serpent or the worm, right?
Yeah.
And the worm is the thing that eats death, but it's the lowest of creatures.
Yep. Yeah. There's a one time Joseph and I went through Job, looking at where it talks about laughter. I think because of there was I think it was Reb Joey talks about the laughter of Leviathan or something like that in some video that he does, and so we were going through, and the one thing about God's speeches, there's a lot of laughter going on. So like the ostrich, when she runs, she laughs at the horse. And then Leviathan, when yeah,
Hey.
yeah, and when Leviathan is like when people are bringing spears and clubs and weapons against it,
it's
Leviathan laughs.
Yeah.
And so and then I had like I've been keeping a document where I like will have like a theme in Job, and then I'll mark down all the verses that have that word in it or whatever. I did that for laughter. But it's interesting how much God like emphasizes laughter in his creation speak. And even like it doesn't say laughter, but like when he lays the foundations of the world, all the sons of God shout for joy. Like this is a good thing. You know, Chesterton points this out as like this is like God, it's like God doesn't even realize. God's sort of just saying like the facts. You know, when I laid the foundation and all the sons of God shouted for joy, where were you? Like that's how God's saying it, but he doesn't realize that he's let slip that there was something worth shouting about. You know, so there's like this so
yes, it is interesting how God's laughter throughout the scripture is used, right? He in heaven laughs, right? Like God laughs at our plans, right? And one of those things that it sounds so profound, but to me, it's like you got to think of it also as like it's kind of funny, where it says all the nations of the world count to God like dust on a scale, like a drop in a bucket, right? Like that's his experience of that, right? And that he actually finds it funny. It's
Mhm.
like, it's just like, oh, buddy, like, good try, buddy.
Good try. I'm gonna see if, yeah, the donkey laughs at the he scored. Wait, yeah, he laughs at the tumult of the city, and he hears not the shouts of the driver. That's funny.
Yeah. Ha ha ha.
I'm trying to find my. Oh, here it is. I wonder if I can just look at laughter real fast.
It seems like is laughter always used in a spirit of juxtaposition and the ridiculousness of whatever the situation is in juxtaposition? Is that always how it's used?
I do. Sometimes there's definitely what the British refer to as taking the piss, where I do think there's especially sarcasm in the text. Like a lot of times the laughter is sarcastic and the joking is sarcastic too. Like when I read that passage from Isaiah, I don't know if you heard it, Neil, where it's just like, what are you going to compare me with? With an idol? You have to get a guy to make sure that it has a good base, because otherwise it falls over. That's what you're comparing me with? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and one of the first things that Job's friends say, Eliphaz says, he says, turn your heart back to God, put iniquity far away from you, and then you will prosper, and you will laugh at destruction and famine, and need not fear the wild animals.
Can I throw a somewhat related topic to you guys?
Yeah.
It's kind of on my mind because we were talking about it last night. It's the relationship between wisdom and this. I'll quote, I guess, Sirach, and I see Sirach and Proverbs very similarly. It's like, walk in my footsteps, son, and you will have a good life, And whereas I see something like Job, and I see the gospel in effect, basically saying like all of the wisdom tradition is like, it's nice, but it's dust on the scale, but what father isn't going to say, walk with me in wisdom, son? And where I've personally managed to square that is the Petersonian, it's your best bet. It's like at the end of one's life, it's not going to be a good excuse to be able to say to God, hey, I knew everything was in your hands anyway, so I disregarded the whole wisdom stuff and just counted on your grace,
Right.
How do both of you think of that? The juxtaposition between something like Job, which do you say, Jess? Is it Job or
Job?
Job. Okay, I thought so. And versus like Proverbs.
Yeah, well, there's like I think there's even a proverb where it says, "Don't be too wise," isn't there?
Do
Like,
not be too wise, nor be too righteous. Why should
don't
you
be too wise
destroy
or
yourself?
too righteous. Yeah.
Yeah, overly wise or overly righteous.
Make sure to laugh at yourself in good measure.
Yeah, there's something about that, because like, I mean, you just know, like, someone who can't kind of laugh at themselves when something happens, like if they're too serious and everything is like very serious and needs to be dealt with and like all this stuff, like there's sometimes you just have to laugh, or there's nothing else to do. Like it's even something terrible, and you laugh and cry at the same time because it's so ridiculous. Yeah, but then also, like, you have to take life seriously. Like, it's not like you can, because you can trick yourself into using that to be like, oh, just do whatever I want as long as I'm sort of having fun. Like, I'm just like, and that's not the thing either. Like, you have to sort of take everything deadly seriously, but with like this lightness.
But yeah, I think so. But there's
Hmm.
another element to it where it's like I have a friend, and they have a 15% chance of something being cancer. Okay, and they can go through this thing, and it's going to be radiation treatment. It's going to be pretty intense. Um, and if they do it, it'll bring down their percentage to 2% chance of cancer. Okay, from 15 to 2%, right? And they're like, well, I'm going to do it. And then I still might have cancer. You could still be part of that 2%, right? Like you did everything right and it still ends up badly, kind of a thing, right? But in the majority of cases, it is going to be better, right? And one of the things that's a determiner for my friend, it's interesting, it's exactly in line with what I was saying before, Jess, is you pick the worst one because then you know you did everything you could, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you are a wise man and tragedy befalls you and you know you did everything right, there you don't deal with the responsibility of the act.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would be way worse if there was tragedy and it was your fault. That's so much worse than tragedy and nothing, no reason.
Yeah, yeah, and you're to blame.
Yeah. Then you just got to suck it up, right? It kind of talks like this in the New Testament, right? Where it says, okay, if you get punished and you actually did the thing you're being punished for, that's like, that's no credit to you. It's just trying to get rid of the evil. But if you are innocent, then you
And
get to
suffer.
you get to build some character, right? You get
It's
to
for your
Some people
glory or something like
say
that.
that
Yeah.
it's Leviathan to blame, but I know
Yeah.
it's my
Musical
own
imagery.
damn fault.
But yeah, that would be amazing. It is to your glory. It's to your glory if you did the wise thing, and then you're not at fault.
Yeah.
I've had this intuition that I posted this in the chat, but when there's not laughter to me, mirth, it's kind of like a light on your feetedness. Like if you think of levity,
Mm-hmm.
what levity implies to me is something like mobility or ability to move quickly. Gird your loins, gents, and what are all the lines about like a thief in the night? Like
Yeah, yeah.
Prepare. Yeah.
don't let the bread rise. Just you got to go. You got to don't pillar of salt
Yep.
this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So is there anything biblically about I guess laughter, I'm thinking of Sarah, but I suspect laughter occurs in times of great transition, biblically speaking. Is it almost a signifier of a change?
Yeah, I think so, because like when things are too new or like it doesn't quite make sense, like you sort of laugh because it appears ridiculous. Like because like when like even the story of Sarah laughing is funny because she laughs and then
And God
God
catches
says,
her. You
"Hey,
laugh.
why did you laugh?" She's like, "I
No,
didn't
girl, you
laugh," and
did.
then he
You
just
did,
says,
girl. You
"You did
did.
laugh."
Yeah.
Like,
But you did, right? Even you can even. It's so funny the way that God appears in early Genesis. He asks questions like he doesn't know what is happening.
yeah, yeah.
Where are you?
Yeah, he takes
Where
the
are you
appearance
guys?
of like the sitcom dad that's like, what's going on? I don't even know,
What's
right?
going on, guys?
Peter, do you really love me, Peter? Do you this
Yeah.
time? Do you love me,
Oh,
Peter?
why did you do that? Yeah. Ah, yeah. That is the first time laughter appears in the text is all the Isaac story. It's the first time that they goes, what? When God first tells Abraham, I think is the first use of that, of the word laugh. Where he goes,
Yeah.
me?
Yes, Sarah says God has made me laugh, and everyone who hears this will laugh with me.
So a chapter before it says, then Abraham fell on his face and laughed, said to himself, shall a child be born? Where is it?
To a man 100 years old.
To a man 100 years old, shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bear a child?
Well, and then Sarah laughs and she thinks to herself, after I am worn out and my Lord is old, will I now have this pleasure? So she laughs silently.
Yeah, it's great.
One time I was.
Oh, go ahead, Jess.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I was contrasting Sarah's response that she's going to bear a child to Mary's response in the gospel, because Mary's response, she doesn't laugh. It says that she's greatly troubled at these words. That's when the angel appears. And it says she's greatly troubled and she pondered what these things meant in her heart. So Mary doesn't laugh.
I don't think Elizabeth does either, but what's his name doesn't believe it. John's father.
John the Baptist leaps. But that's a levity. That's a levity in the womb, right?
John's father doesn't believe, though.
But does he laugh?
He goes
blind, right?
Yeah, he couldn't speak.
Oh, that's right. Mute. Yeah, sorry, I got my sensory perceptions mixed up.
Yeah.
Is there any yawning in the Bible? Yawn God.
Anyone yawning?
I don't know. I am yawning. It's getting late over here. I think I have to call it a night. Yeah, this was a great introductory conversation on this topic that I hope to continue to talk with y'all about. So now I got to stay up longer.
Oh, Joseph. We got to stay for another 30 minutes.
Keeping me up.
Definitely not 30 minutes. I got to wake up early to travel tomorrow.
Okay.
But I was just going to say, so that comment that you had pulled up there, Neil, was something that I only came across this year, actually, in a commentary, that Leon Cass points out that it's really weird, like, to think about that Sarah laughs and then God asks Abraham, like, why did she laugh? Because it implies that when she hears the angels give this news about Isaac, it's her first time hearing it. But Abraham actually heard this already, like, a while back. And it means that he didn't tell his wife, right? The only to your point about laughing in transition and juxtaposition, it means that he didn't tell his wife, and now she's laughing. So when God asks Abraham, why did Sarah laugh? One could read that as, hey, why didn't you tell your wife about this? Like, right?
He needs to know about this.
But Abraham is very pragmatic, because to tell your wife that something good might happen and then it doesn't, like, I've been in that situation before. That is a dangerous play.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have a baby.
I've also. Oh man. Okay.
It's weird.
It is weird.
Well, and I was talking. This is something I mentioned to Grimm. Is the call at first is very vague, right? Abraham, when he first hears the call, might think that he's going to inherit the land in his own lifetime, right? It's like, go, you're going to get this land. Okay, great. And then years later, he finds out, no, it's like in 400 years, you're dead, right?
Sort of. I mean, he gets one piece of land, and he only gets it after he basically, almost kills both of his sons, and his wife dies, and everything else has already happened, and it's in her death, and like that he finally actually has to acquire a piece of land that he buys on, and it's like,
McPila,
like why didn't he buy something earlier? Like, there's a joke there too, to some degree, right? Where like,
right.
He could have acquired the land the whole time. He had the money since Egypt, and like he's just not, like, he was like waiting for a miracle, basically, is what it seems. And like it doesn't occur to him that, hey, the way that I acquire land is actually by doing something to acquire the land. And it's only like at this point that he finally kind of gets that message.
That's funny.
I'm thinking more about him not telling Sarah about this. It's almost like the opposite of Adam and Eve, in that like God gives. Okay, so Adam and Eve, right? You got Satan first going to Eve,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
Eve
yeah,
goes to
yeah.
Adam, and in this you have God going to Abraham, and Abraham doesn't pass on the good news, whereas
But-
Eve passes on the bad news, like the reversal of everything. I
Well,
don't know.
Yeah,
Adam
he's
told
definitely
Eve about the
playing-
fruit.
Sorry, go ahead, Jess.
Well, Adam apparently had told Eve not to eat of the, and also added, "Don't touch it,"
Yeah,
because
something's
that's what she
added.
said. She says, "Not, we shouldn't even touch it."
But there's another element that I'm seeing within this that it's an interesting connection with that story. Is the idea that Abraham, the vagueness of it means that somehow Sarah and Abraham interpret whatever the call Abraham had as you could sleep with Hagar and get a child that way. Right?
Well, that's like normal ancient Near Eastern practice.
I know it is. I know it
Right?
is.
Like you know that.
But
also, but originally he says it's not going to be either, right? He says it's going to be a servant after the battle with the four.
yeah. It's going to be Eliezer of Damascus.
Right.
Yeah.
And then God says, no, it's going to be someone who issues from your loins. Now it's interesting. He says yours, and it doesn't include Sarah there. So it's ambiguous enough that like it seems to kind of allow for that direction to happen. But remember that the entire idea of getting Hagar was like he does it it says like he listens to Sarah's voice. That's where it says it there. And it's a super key phrase. He listened to her voice. It comes up a lot in Genesis, and that's again Eden's story, right? Listening to Eve's voice. That phrase actually doesn't come up there, funnily enough, but it comes up a lot with other women in Genesis. The two times it happens with Abraham is the first time with Hagar, where it says he doesn't seem to want to, but he listens to her voice and he does it. And then when she wants to banish Ishmael and Hagar the second time, and he doesn't want to, and God tells him,
Listen to your wife.
Her voice.
Yeah.
And you get that. Yeah, there's this weird like maybe he feels like he shouldn't listen to her because it didn't work out so well the first time, like when he listened to her voice for this big decision over the inheritance. And there's a question over like whether it was he should have always listened to her, or whether it's like now that you've listened to her once, you have to listen to her again, type of like you've already kind of set this path. Maybe you shouldn't have listened to her in the first place, but too late. He doesn't consult God at first. What, Neil?
3 times a lady. Sorry, I'm in a very
yeah, he's in a silly singing mood. He saw that this was foreplay, and he's come out to play. Joseph, this is one of the reasons, not that Donnie would have said exactly what you said, but you bring something very different to the conversation, and I like the way that it sends us in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, I know Jess mentioned that like a lot of we've had these talks because of Reb Joey's stuff. It's really funny because he literally was like yesterday's class was literally about this topic, but also he has a book on it's called Isaac's Laughter. Is his book.
Right.
And it's all about Leviathan and the cosmic joke and the tie into the binding of Isaac, and Isaac, who's both like this, in fear of God, like literally that's the way he calls God, is like it's the fear of Isaac, right? That's how his son understands God, or his dad's relationship to God. And at the same time, like he's the guy who gets caught playing / laughing with his wife in the royal court of Gerar. And there's this like he has this really kind of funky tension where he like seems to, at the one hand, like be sort of boring and kind of serious, but then he has like these moments of levity or laughter or playing or joy or whatever they are. And they're not necessarily even at like transition points or transformational points. They're just a guy, like joking with his wife or whatever it is. And that, and also his brother, but his brother might have been doing something more cruel with laughter, or playing with him earlier. But he's a really weird character in this way. He has this tension, and we know so little about him in some sense. But but he does seem his son's kind of right. The whole trickster kind of narrative is sort of playing into that to some degree. Like he's the guy who gets swapped for a ram, is going to get tricked by his son dressing up as a ram, pretending to be his other son, right? And you end up kind of going into these weird kind of fractal tricks, and then that trick leads to the Leia Rachel trick, and so the whole trickster thing is also part of this laughter. And there's a question of like with Esau, even like that he seems to be one who should be able to play, but on the one hand, I mean, almost like he can't take him. He sees everything kind of as maybe like he's ruined the cosmic joke in a sense. Is like one way to read Esau. Like he's just trying to like do the thing because he already kind of thinks he understands the joke and he's done. And Jacob is still like playing into the joke, and so that's like one way to kind of read the difference between them. Even though it's like a disturbing way to read it to some degree, because like,
right,
like becoming right. Esav never tricks, right? That's one of the interesting things about him, is that like he's for all of his like maybe problematic like hints of something problematic with them, like he's not at all this trickster character. Not that a trickster. That's also like another thing. I don't know. Okay, I was not going to talk for half an hour, but
no, that's good.
A small point is that I think in Western imagination we have this kind of idea of the trickster is like the jester, this like the trickster god. This kind of very Greco-Roman kind of Western understanding. But if you think about like ancient Near Eastern literature, I mean, you read Enuma Elish, right, David? Like, the heroes are always tricksters. Like the hero is the trickster in ancient Near Eastern literature usually. Like that, whether you're in Egypt or in Mesopotamia, like that is not like the side characters making trouble or
it's wisdom.
Or
it's wisdom.
But it's not external to the hero. It is the hero. The hero uses like it's part being crafty and clever and like being able to, whether it's to trick a god and like a lot of the pagan literature.
As crafty as a serpent, one might say. As crafty as a serpent.
Right. But I think that sort of throws us because I think our symbolic world for tricksters is like shifted to some degree in the West.
Do you think God is tricky?
Is God tricky?
Sometimes.
I think it's undeniable.
Insofar as like he can use anything to his purposes. Yeah, I mean, isn't that tricky? Isn't that like the height of trickiness?
I would regard. I mean, the way I think of God is as the ultimate storyteller. That's really the best heuristic of how I think about God, and meaning that if he can make something happen in the most subtle and unexpected way, that's what's going to happen. If God can act,
but then he also puts on a show too.
What was that?
He'll also put on a show too. He'll exaggerate things like.
Yeah. He exaggerates Pharaoh's heart. He needs. It's not impressive enough yet. We got to make a show of this, okay? That's why he hardens his heart so that everyone will talk about it forever.
Yeah.
It's like it's not, guys. It's not enough of a spectacle. It can't be first plague that he just lets you go. I got to get to 10.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is it bad that Esau is so straight? Like he's so like plays the straight guy.
Yeah, he does.
I actually don't think he's a straight man. I think he's in. He knows in some way he knows the punchline to some degree. I think, which is like weird because he's the one who gets tricked, but at the same time, like
he's taken
there's
so
something
seriously.
to him where it seems to me he ruins the joke more than he's the straight man.
Well, he is.
Both. I could hear both.
In the end, he forgives him, but he is the person who is pranked and then is going to kill him for it, right? He comforts himself with thoughts of killing his brother.
Right. So he doesn't. The joke to him fails and becomes this tragedy.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't land. Yeah.
Sorry, Joseph, if I still have you for like a couple of seconds, because Hezi did want me to mention something.
Okay.
and it was that in the end, the what's it called? The tent is made out of the skin of Leviathan, and Chezi didn't say this, but I know it's in other rabbinic material that the meat that we're eating in the great feast is also Leviathan.
Right. So, but there's two Leviathans, the 10 and
Right.
So the male Leviathan is the one that's killed at the end of history, the female at the beginning. The meat of both in the 10. I was actually just thinking about this though, because the earliest they found this really cool like silver drinking goblet for rituals, Canaanite rituals, on the east side of the Jordan. It's about I think 2200 BC or so. So it's like we consider it pre-biblical, pre Abraham-ish, and it shows it's a version of the snake, like story, except it's not quite the same. By snake story, I mean not the biblical one, but like the Tiamat, or whatever version of that one. But it has basically like cherubs, and they are guarding something, and the snake is sort of like threatening them. And then in the next scene, it shows the snake kind of smaller with a different skin, and the cherubs have been transformed into like more, I'd say, humanoid, and they're holding the sky up as like the firmament, right up above the snake. But what's really interesting about it is that the pattern of the sky, which is like the stars, is the same as the snake's skin in the first scene. And there's
because that's part of the Tiamat story is that it's filleted, and
it's her body. It's her whole body in Tiamat's story. We have no version that's only the skin, except for the late rabbinic version, but maybe also this archaeological find, which it seems to be tied to snakes shedding their skin, and that being understood as a form of resurrection in the ancient world.
Renewal.
Because we have found other things where snakes are tied to resurrection. But
right. Gilgamesh as well, yeah.
But it is weird that there's no other version of where we specifically have shedding and skin outside of what seems to be the rabbinic version. But even the rabbinic one, it doesn't, like, the skin presumably is removed and not shed, but it doesn't actually ever say that. I don't know.
All of that is tied closely to water. That's the reason you don't put wine into old wineskins. Like the skin is the thing that it's intertwined. It's like a rebirth motif.
Yeah, well, so it's interesting. There's a Jewish, I wouldn't say law, but there's a tradition that you don't drink water that's left out overnight. Because there was an idea that if snakes drank from it at night, it would have their poison in it. So you have to have new water every day, so you don't drink. Now, of course, that could just be like a hygiene thing, and like, okay, it's good to have fresh water. But there is something symbolic about the snakes, like poisonous snakes in the water, for sure, as well.
So were you saying like the snake had shed its skin, and then that was used to make the creation?
That was used as the firmament in this image.
Right, like the tent covering, yeah.
So it wasn't like all of creation. It wasn't,
right.
But it wasn't the earth, and it was just the thing between the upper
but then the snake doesn't die.
The snake is confined to the lower water in that image.
Confined to the lower water. Interesting.
And in the first part of that image, the snake is standing, and then on the second part of that image, the snake is on its belly. Right, so you kind of do see that motif also, where it's standing and it's taller, right? It's taller than the cherub, so it's actually like across both spheres, or the spheres that don't exist yet. There's no separation between above and below. Yeah. Anyway, okay, now I'm gonna really.
That's really cool. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Good night, guys. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, or our Thursdays working, where we're not having Bible study because everyone else is doing.
And on this day, we give thanks. We don't have to attend Bible study. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just taking it.
Shots fired. What? Yoav. What is it? 5 a.m?
It's the morning. It's the day shift. It's the sun's coming up.
Yes.
over Tel Aviv. Yes.
Yes. It's 6 o'clock. So it's beginning to be decent time to get up. And you started about 3:30 in the morning.
Have you watched any of this? Do you have any idea what we're talking about?
I have some idea. I didn't watch all of this. I have some idea.
I would still like to hear your opinion, my friend.
Yeah.
I like your
No,
opinion.
no, you don't. Okay, but I'm going to be very pleasant. I want to push back, while you know that I never push back. A good comedy is when the people that are in it are not aware that it's a comedy. They treat it seriously. The people that are in the play. I see myself, this Jew in the Holy Land, as being an actor in the play. I'm part of this biblical story. For me, it's not funny at all. For me, it's all dead serious. I sort of envy you, the spectators, being able to enjoy a good story.
Well, and you are, I'm just going to say it, in the biblical theology, the prank is played on Israel. Like it's it's all of us goy. Our redemption is based on you being pranked by God.
Absolutely.
Boy into the temple, and we're gonna get united to the most holy.
Going to the temple is pretty.
Temple.
Yeah.
So that was Jewish Israeli me speaking. Now, engineering me, of course, I should ask what animal actually is a Leviathan. I mean, what kind of an animal? Where do I put it in the classification of animals?
Probably a reptile.
Yeah, probably a reptile. Now, what we do know, that the desert in Egypt is absolutely littered with the skeletons of basilosauruses. I mean, you just, as a nomad, you walk in the desert in Egypt, and you just happen upon them.
The skeletons of what?
Basilosaurus. Now, that's exactly the right animal, because the ending zaurus means that you think it's a kind of a lizard, because it looks like a sort of something long and predatory, and you think it's some kind of a big lizard or maybe a big snake, because it doesn't have legs. But if you're a little bit more knowledgeable, you start to realize that it's actually a sea animal, some kind of a very big fish, because it has the tail of a fish.
It's got fins.
And fins. So you're sure, okay, this is the Leviathan, but what is it? What is the Leviathan doing, being dead in the middle of the desert? You start thinking about something that happened here, a big battle that was going here between those creatures, and somebody that just threw them out of the water and plugged them in the middle of the desert to die. I think that's a start of a good story.
Well, that is interesting as well, because I think it gets tied in with snakes. But I think if you're in the ancient mindset, you would think fish were a kind of snake. Because if you're watching fish move in the water, they look like snakes. That's what they look like. They move like serpents.
Yeah, I knew this for a fact. The fact that you can find those bones littering the desert. Those pictures that you're seeing looks so much to me that it really looks like a fake. I mean, I really cannot
some of them are
believe it.
fakes. That's a fake right there.
But I cannot believe it is so bad, but it does exist.
Yeah. Fascinating.
I'm gonna
It
call it a
is.
night, guys, but it's been fun.
See you, Neil.
Sorry for singing so much. Have a good
Dude,
night.
it was
I
lovely.
enjoyed your singing. It made me laugh. You made me laugh in this stream about laughter. Okay. Wonderful. Gentlemen,
And may
I've
the
had a
hair on
great
your
time.
toes never fall out.
And another purpose for my visit is if you're going to start a stream at 3:30 in the morning, I can come here and keep you awake as much as I want.
That's good. Yeah, you're just fighting me.
Payback.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Tragedy. It all ends in comedy. It's a big joke.
Yeah, what
Leviathan-
happens? What happens when the characters discover they're in a comedy?
I wrote a play about this. That is the play that I wrote. And that's actually all part of it is like, what if it's absurd? Not because, like, that's actually one of the ways that laughter is used in the Bible is absurdity. And absurdity gets used as an atheistic, postmodern, the absurd, right? The absurd becomes an obsession, theater of the absurd. And the whole reason why I wrote my play was, what if the absurdity and the laughter is in things being meaningful, not them being
Unmeaningful.
Yeah.
Meaningless.
meaningless? What if it's actually the other way around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, does it ruin the story then? Or do
Well-
you get another tension because the character is like, okay, now it's a comedy. I know this is gonna be funny, and then he tries to do something funny and it doesn't work. Then we're back into the story again.
Yes. Yeah. Well, so that becomes part of it. Is there's the center of the story is two lovers, and one of them thinks it's great that it's written because that means we're meant to be together, but the other person hates it because that means that we didn't choose each other.
Oh yeah.
It's not real. It's all fake.
Yeah.
It's fake if it's destined.
Yeah.
And so it's the two characters being able to meet each other, being able to understand the other perspective and to incorporate all those things and to walk into the absurdity of the paradox of those things being true at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great night. Great stream.
Thanks,
I had a-
David.
I had a wonderful
Technically,
time.
are we on your channel or on Jacob's channel?
We're on both. We're on both.
Yeah, but who started it? Or is it meaningless to ask?
I have access to Jacob's channel, so I streamed both identically at the exact same time.
Okay.
Jess, you could have streamed this, but he didn't. I don't think he did.
I don't have my account set up to do it. I don't.
All right, that's fine.
Okay, I realize it's getting late and I need to get to work soon. I have a great story about whales, but I don't want a really great story, but I don't want to broadcast it from Jacob's channel. So sometimes when we are on your own channel,
Okay.
on your channels, then I want to remind me.
I have a very funny story about whales that I want to tell now because
okay.
I think if we're talking about Leviathan for play, that this is great. Okay. I go out. This is over the summer, early summer. I go out to see whales on the East Coast. Okay. So in the Atlantic Ocean. And we get taken out in this boat and we start seeing whales everywhere. Okay. They're great. We see seals like actually swimming in the water. It's beautiful. Now, there are two people on this boat who, as we're starting to look at stuff, just like, hoo-ah! Like start vomiting like crazy. And the guy has to like try to scoop it up into like, he has doggy bags to scoop the vomit. Okay. Gives these guys, and the rest of us are having a good time, but in the center of us are these two people that are just vomiting for the entire trip. And they just won't stop. And it's like, and then the one next to them, his partner is disgusted by her vomiting and he starts vomiting. So there's like the two of them vomiting together as we're like looking. And it was funny because there's a couple of seconds where we're like, oh no, what do we do? How do we help? But pretty quickly, we are like, there's all these amazing whales, guys. I can't care about this. We've got other things happening.
I was waiting for the whale to come up and throw up.
That'd be amazing. What we found out also is that you're not allowed to vomit off the boat because it's illegal to chum to get the whales to come closer for you, and that counts as chumming.
You just have to vomit on your shoes.
Yeah, you gotta right into those doggy bags.
All right, I'm out of here.
All right, I'm gone too. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.